I'm not one of those people that will ever say, here's my 3 keys to recovery. Here's my 3 things that you need to do in this instance. But there's 2 simple things that I wanted to share with you today that have really, really helped in my recovery. And that's why I've titled it 2 Things to Help with Recovery. Again, it is not an exhaustive list. The list is, a mile long, and it's different for everybody. But I want to give 2 things that have really helped me out when it comes to thinking about my own recovery, and I hope it helps you today. Let's dive in and see what happens, shall we? Welcome to Shattered the Podcast. STP is the story of my journey from the depths of mental illness to a place where I could live again. When you're first diagnosed or first dealing with a mental health problem, the biggest thing that you feel, for me, was being overwhelmed, feeling like I was out of control, that there was nothing I could do, that my whole life, everything about me was just out of my own sphere of influence. I had no control. As you go along in your mental health journey, though, you learn that the things that you can control the number of things becomes bigger. All of a sudden, things that you weren't able to control, certain situations, certain responses, you're able to control a lot better. And I wanted to give you 2 keys today. And these are keys that are more for people that are along their mental health journey, not for people that are just diving into it and they've found out they've got a mental illness, they've suffered trauma, they've just been diagnosed. This is not for those people. This is for the people that are down the line a little bit. And it's 2 particular things that I believe are extremely important. And yeah, we're not going to draw this out. What are they? Well, it's basically patience and purpose. You might be listening to me going, seriously? Patience and purpose? But let me expand it out for you. When you first start going through mental illness, when you start living with it, when you start experiencing it, it feels like it's out of control. And when you're in the moment, particularly for somebody that's living with suicidal ideation or self-harm, patience is not something that you think about. In fact, you can't have patience. You don't have patience. What you're feeling at the moment is the most important and valid thing in the world. And oftentimes it is, because you're learning to deal with it. But there's this famous adage, this too shall pass. Tom Hanks does a really good thing about it. Somebody came to him when he started in acting and he said, you all need to realize that every single circumstance, good, bad, otherwise, it will pass. And it's true. Now, from a mental health perspective, it's about those negatives. It's about those, I've lost friends, I'm depressed, I'm in a hole, I can't get out of bed in the morning. And these things come, if you notice, over time in waves. Some days are better than other, even maybe marginally better, but they are better. Some are better, some are worse. And that's the thing with your mental illness. It's on a pendulum. You're never ever moving towards better or worse. You're kind of dangling between the two. You're going backwards and forwards. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're not. It's that pendulum that you're suspended and you're going through life, not so much targeted or looking for hope or doing those kind of things, but you're just existing. And that's the thing with those bad times, the times when you want to harm yourself, the times where you have suicidal ideation. Those are the times that are the bad times. And the thing is, by themselves, they will eventually subside. You can be incredibly suicidal one day and not so much the next day. You can be incredibly happy one day and then devastated and depressed the next. It's that pendulum of emotion. It's that pendulum of life experience, just going backwards and forwards. Where does patience come into that? When you're having the bad days, don't make a decision. Don't do something that is going to be irreparable or irreparable. Don't make a decision that is life altering when you're in those dark spaces. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to hurt somebody else. I'm going to go off my medication. I'm going to get stoned. I'm going to take all my drugs. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. While you're in that deep, dark place, the only thing that you can do is keep moving. A friend of mine once said, when you're going through hell, don't stop. And that's what we do when we're feeling those bad things. Yeah, it's tempting to stop, but stopping is giving up. Stopping is getting to a point where you aren't going to move forward anymore. And if you just keep moving forward, even if it's just millimeter by millimeter, increment by increment, I have to do this thing. Then I will get home. When I get home, I need to get past this thing. I need to do this. That depth of horror and yuckiness will subside. And likewise, if you're doing really well, your medications are doing great. You had a great session with your psych. You had, just a really good week. Your mental health, you're crushing it. That too will pass, particularly when you're living with mental illness. More often than not, that darkness, that abyss is waiting for you on the other side. And this is where patience comes in. Knowing that when you get back into that dark space, you aren't going to stay there forever. So, first key is patience. Knowing that whatever you're going through, good, bad, or otherwise, will end somehow. The good times will fade. There may be a hangover. You never know. So, the first key to recovery, patience. Second key to recovery is purpose. Now, I don't want you to confuse this with hope. For me, when people used to talk about purpose, I immediately went to hope. Something to look forward to, something in the future, something that's coming. Christmas is coming, my birthday is coming, a holiday is coming. That's not purpose. Purpose is finding a reason to get out of bed every morning. My life could not exist without purpose. Without purpose, I would go down the drain and I wouldn't be here any longer. So where did purpose come for me? Came from the most unexpected places. First off, it came from getting a job working as a volunteer on a radio station and then getting a job at a radio station. And it's not so much the job that I was doing because it sounds really sexy and cool and, oh, you were working in radio. Thing is, I was still living with my mental illness. I was still sitting there before I went on air, just geeing myself up, trying to be mindful, trying to do the things that I need to do to be healthy. My mental illness did not go away. It was still there. If I took 2 minutes to myself, started feeling down on the days that I felt terrible, taking myself into the studio, geeing myself up to talk, and then understanding that at the end of a session, a radio or an outside broadcast or whatever, knowing that I needed to get out of there as quickly as I could for my own mental health. Now, that might seem like a massive thing, and it is. The other thing that gives me purpose, strangely, is books. I volunteer at my local opportunity shop, and I sort books, and I love doing it. I get to put books on shelves. I get to look at the books. I get to read them sometimes before I put them on shelves. I get to price them. I get to talk about books. If I didn't have that thing, that little thing that, and other people find it in family. I know a woman that talks about it every time she went to the dark places and thought about ending her life. What kept her going was her kids. It was purpose. A purposeless life is not going to go anywhere. You're not going to see any change. So I know somebody at the moment that has finally gotten out of the clinical stage, the critical stage of their mental illness. For years, they live with abuse and struggle and um, domestic violence and all these kind of things. And when they came out of that, they didn't need purpose. Their only thing was just to help the symptoms diminish. Now, though, once they've got the symptoms under control, they need to have purpose. And that's what we're trying to help them find now. Could be fixing bicycles, could be working with the elderly, could be going back to work, could be, I don't know, playing a sport. It could be anything, something that gives you a sense of purpose outside of your own individual needs, something that floats your boat, something that excites you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a part 2 for this one, and it's going to be finding patience and purpose, how you do that. So thanks for listening. Checks in the next podcast. I appreciate you listening. Like, share, subscribe. Had 100,000 people listen so far. Our subscribers or our likes, I don't know what you call it, like, share, subscribers, I guess, are steadily growing. And that's because of you. It's people letting other people know that Mark My Words exists and letting them know that it's worthwhile. So I appreciate it. Tune in next week. Patience, Purpose, Part 2, How to Find It. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you again next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to Mark My Words. I'd like to thank my producer, Meredith Brosnan, and also Torian, Kevin, and Lorraine. And I can't forget the band Adelaide, who allows us to use their song as our theme.